Hello and welcome back to another episode of the On the Sideline podcast with Jackson and Kyle. I am Jackson, and I'm joined here, as always, by the man who may or may not get a head coaching gig for the Indianapolis Colts someday. Kyle, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I put in my resume, so we'll see what happens on that one.
Apparently, you don't need one.
Yeah, you don't even need to be a coach.
Yeah, I don't think resume is necessary for that job.
Yeah, maybe I could just, if only I knew Peyton Manning or something, then probably I'd have a job.
Yeah, I think that's it's like one step removed from the knowing Sean McVay thing, but a different level because Peyton Manning is also not a head coach.
Yeah, and hasn't been with the team in over a decade too. So,
Hey, I mean, Peyton Manning got Adam Gase 2 head coaching jobs, so I guess this is just Jeff Saturday's first.
I don't know. What if Jeff Saturday ends up being a really good coach?
Well, I was going to talk about this later on. Let's just talk about this now, why don't we? About the whole Jeff Saturday thing, because I mean, we saw the most insane decision of all time, right? I mean, this is like, I think two things are true. I think this is objectively a horrendous move, and also Jeff Saturday could be a good head coach, and it could work out. But it still doesn't make the move correct to just randomly hire somebody because you like him. It seems like that's why they did it. Like every answer that Jim Irsay has said was like, well, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, I mean, I know he was with the organization for a long time. The weird thing too is like, why would Jeff Saturday take this job?
Right.
Like, because not only he doesn't even have the job permanently. Like this is like taking like a contracting gig, and then I guess he's hoping it turns into a full-time job. I don't know. It just seems very bizarre that he would just be like, "Yeah, I'll do it the last 10 weeks of the year."
Like, listen, Jeff Saturday was working in football, but it's like if I was all of a sudden the head coach of the Colts, like I know most of the Colts players, but I'm not sure I can tell you every Colts player. I certainly couldn't tell you every backup the Colts have. Like, I mean, there's gonna be people like he's gonna have to research who they are. Like, and he has a game this week. Like, I believe he has a game this week. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they play the Raiders, who he tweeted out the Raiders stink like, a couple days ago. So just, I mean, in an all-time press conference. I mean, I think one of the best quotes I liked from this press conference was him saying that he likes Jeff Saturday because he doesn't have coaching experience. And the fact that he doesn't have coaching experience means he won't be afraid. And when people are afraid, they often go to analytics. So I feel like a couple of reaches there in that statement.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. So I don't know. So I guess that's just bizarre. So I guess John Harbaugh is just afraid of coaching.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really the secret sauce is John Harbaugh is afraid of coaching and stuff like that. I don't know. It seemed like a very bizarre move, but I mean, I feel like we pick these coaches at random sometimes, and some are good and some aren't. The odd thing about this though is that he's not picking his staff, obviously, because it's the middle of the season. The staff that's there staying on. The staff now has to basically work for this guy who wasn't the person who hired them, knowing that they probably aren't going to keep their job for the future. Like, this is basically just a lost season at this point, right? Because what's the incentive for the coach or any of these players to play for a guy they don't think is going to be there after this season?
Right, because I feel like typically what happens is when you fire a head coach, like the next game, that team usually comes out and looks great because they're like, we have to, fight for this guy who nobody knows is the head coach. We want to make sure that, we look good for him because like we know this guy, like he's someone that we respect and we want to, it's like his job interview. We want to help him succeed, and that kind of like gets the guys going. I feel like usually it lasts for like a week and then it's over because you realize you sink, but there's usually like a little bit of that. Like that's definitely not going to happen with Jeff Saturday. I mean, it's hilarious. And the one thing I'll say is like, listen, Mike Vrabel coached for I believe 1 year, gave the Texans the 30th ranked defense, and then got the head coaching gig for the Titans and has been awesome. So like, who knows with this stuff? Like maybe Jeff Saturday will work out, but like that still doesn't mean that the process makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It is bizarre. I don't really know. Like, I was already kind of selling the Colts. I think I'm selling them a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the Colts are. That's the other thing. Is this just a tanking move? Is that just all it is?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a tanking move. It seems like that they, like, I don't know. Jim Irsay seems like he's pretty hell bent on trying to win games.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. I think that you're right. They probably just like him. We could probably do a whole podcast on this. Let's move on though. Why don't we go to the Monday night game? Ravens beat the Saints. Game kind of went as expected, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the Ravens ran the ball really well. I thought the Saints defense actually played pretty well. Like they weren't great, but I thought they played pretty well in this game, especially in the passing game. It just felt like, I mean, this is the kind of game where if you're a Saints fan, you're looking at, okay, the quarterback position needs to be addressed this offseason, right? Like we've put off replacing Breeze long enough.
But they
And
don't have a first round pick.
I know there's like 5 or 6 teams now that probably are looking at it like, okay, we really need to actually assess the quarterback position and address this. And then you look at, teams like them don't have the option of actually doing it. They're kind of, if you look at the teams that probably need to change quarterback this offseason, they're probably towards the bottom of the list because, like you said, they don't have the pick to actually navigate anything or make a trade with that pick.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, even if like an Aaron Rodgers becomes available, it's going to be more difficult for them to make that happen. So yeah. I mean, they're in a tough spot right now. The Saints. I mean, the Saints felt like they were going to be competitive this year. That's really how they felt, and they haven't been.
Yeah, it hasn't been as good. Um, are they done, or is it the NFC South too bad?
I think the NFC South's too bad, but I also think that like, listen, they play the Steelers and they play the Rams the next 2 weeks. So if you can win those two games, you put yourself at 5-6. I feel like they are kind of scrappy. They have some tough games still ahead. They have the 49ers, they have the Eagles as well. But then you play every NFC South team another time plus the Browns. So is it out of question they could have sort of go on a little bit of a run here, finish 9-8? I don't think so. So I don't think they're done.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the thing is though, is that like I just don't think it's a good football team. And like betting
Hmm.
on like even with the Rams and Steelers the next 2 weeks, I don't know if I can bet on them to win any of those games, either of those games. It just feels like I don't know. It just feels like an incomplete team. And with Michael Thomas not out there, I don't think the passing game is very good. Chris Olave is once again very good in this game, but outside of
Hmm.
that, they really couldn't do anything on offense. Like just going down the list, none of the guys were good at all.
Yeah, I mean, we came into the season thinking like, okay, they have three big risks here at wide receiver with Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, and Michael Thomas. One of those risks has worked out with Olave, but the other two haven't. So they haven't had that complete receiving core.
Yeah, it's been rough. And they're wasting a good defensive year again. So it's just like, okay, these guys are all going to get a year older too. How much longer can they keep this up? I think is the question. I think it's, we had talked about for a while this Saints window had basically closed a couple years, and it feels like it's slammed shut now to me.
Yeah, but also if you're a Saints fan, don't you kind of feel like at least we went all in and tried to make it happen? Like at least we kept buying against the cap. We did what we could to try to make it happen. It didn't work out. Like I feel like Saints and Packers fans have very similar things. I feel like It's easier for me to sleep at night if I'm a Saints fan than a Packers fan. There's no what ifs really.
Yeah, although I'm sure you're a little annoyed it didn't work out, right?
Sure, but I mean, if it's not going to work out, I feel like I'd rather go all in and have it not work out.
Yeah, exactly. So
Hmm.
it felt like I never felt like the Ravens were going to lose this game at all. Basically, they controlled it throughout, and I mean, I even thought it was a bit they won this game more than the 14-point margin. Personally,
Yeah, good. I mean, Ravens are legit. Ravens are. I mean, they have to be like a tier two team, right? Maybe even are they in? Are they in just the Super Bowl contender tier?
I would have them second tier. I don't
Hmm.
know. Like, there's things about this team that kind of just I don't know. It feels like that they put together like 50% of a really good game consistently, but you
Hmm.
don't know which side of the ball is going to be consistently great, it feels like. Because, like, I don't know, outside of like, so this game and the Jets game, it felt like they kind of dominated. But outside of that, it felt like they haven't really dominated any games. And they've dropped three close games that they had leads in, too. So, like, I think this team has a little bit of that F around and find out factor where I think you can get them because it just doesn't seem like they put together consistently, complete performances. But I do think at their best, they can beat anybody on any given Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's probably well said. Let's move on. Let's get into the meat of the show, the Pick'em show. Kyle, big week for you. You had the thing where you got me to lock up the wrong game, and that worked out well for you. I mean, that was a 3-point swing. That move that worked out. So good stuff by you.
Yeah, just chipping away here. I was doing the math here on this. I think I'm 16-4 the last 3 weeks on picks.
There you go.
So just bet on me. Just bet on me. Although one of my locks was wrong, so that hurt it a little bit. But overall, pretty good couple of weeks stretch here. I'm coming back.
Yeah, no, it's this. I feel this always happens. You start off slow, but you get hot. You're like the Patriots themselves. Of like you always start off slow, but then in the middle of the seasons where you start getting better.
Once I start to figure this stuff out, I think I have it down now by this point. I feel like I'm picking pretty good. Except
Okay,
for the
okay. Well,
Chargers. Screw that team.
yes. All right. Well, Kyle, I still do have a 1 point lead because it's like golf. Lowest score wins. So that means that once again, you will be starting off the show by giving me a game. Who do you got?
Okay, I have two games at the stop here, even at the top of my list, and I don't know which one to give you. I've been going with this theory, and I think it's worked pretty well for me, so I think I'm going to stick with it, even though I'd probably had this conventionally in my number two game. But Thursday night games are continuing to be weird. So let's go Thursday night Falcons at Panthers.
Falcons, Panthers. Interesting. See, I have this one a little bit lower. I actually have this as my sixth game. I feel okay about picking the Panthers. Excuse me, I said the wrong team. I feel okay about picking the Falcons. I know the Falcons and played the Panthers very close. I get it. It's a divisional matchup. Now that you have it here, I can totally see why you do because of the fact that the Panthers played very well. Both of these defenses stink. I mean, the Panthers defense has not. It had it's shown flashes. I think it started off the season well, but it really has not been great. As of late, unless they're playing Tampa Bay, the Falcons defense has struggled obviously as well. But I just coming off of that Panthers game last week, I don't know. I kind of feel like this PJ Walker thing was just a kind of a flash in the pan thing. I don't think the Falcons are great. I mean, some of those missed throws by Mariota last week. I mean, he had Kyle Pitts open for a go-ahead touchdown and just missed him. He was wide open. I don't think either of these teams are fantastic, but I do still think I trust the Falcons more than the Panthers here.
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm leading Falcons on this one, and yeah, I would probably have a couple games higher if not for this being the Thursday night game. The one thing I do have about this game, though, is the Panthers were playing pretty good football for 2 weeks before that Bengals game. I know they lost the Falcons game. They probably should have won it. I thought they were playing pretty good football the 2 weeks prior to that Bengals game. They got a little bit embarrassed in that Bengals game, obviously. Could they bounce back and kind of be that team, or was that just a, Steve Wilkes motivation factor thing because of the new coach situation? I don't really know how that's going to play out, but I'm not sold on either of these teams either. So I think it's I'm okay with looking at either side of it because I just don't think either team's really that great.
Right. Yeah. Part of me feels like there's almost maybe this is not the best. Maybe this doesn't make a ton of sense. I feel like the Falcons do want it more, which again, that's probably lazy analysis. But I do feel like the Falcons are a team that they are trying to make the playoffs. They do have that hope. I think the Panthers are not that. I do think that this is a team that when the Falcons are utilizing their players right, they do have Cordell Patterson back, so that should be a big benefit as well. I do just feel like. I'm sorry. You can't tell me that this Panthers offense is better than the Falcons offense. Now, it probably played better the time they played each other. That's just the thing. To me, it feels clear the Falcons should be the better team, but the Panthers outplayed the Falcons in a loss just 2 weeks ago. So that's what's hanging me up, I think.
Yeah. The Falcons really need to start getting some wins if they actually wanted to be considered a division contender. Not that Tampa's great and is going to run away with this or anything, but you also can't, if they lose this game, they go 1-3 in the division, they go 1-4 on the road. That's just not a recipe for winning a division in football. I know this division seems like it's worse than usual, but I mean, at that point, if you're 4-6, sooner or later we kind of have to cross you off because I don't think an under 500 team's going to the playoffs winning this division.
Yeah, you still just feel like it's one of those things, right, where every time there's a division like this, people say, oh, is this going to be the worst division of all time? But typically when this happens halfway through the season, when there's a sub 500 division leader, typically they kind of pull away and start to do well. And at least one team turns it around. It doesn't always work out. We remember the Washington football team making the playoffs at 7-9, but typically that's how it works.
Yeah. I think it is going to happen. I think Tampa's eventually going to get to 9-8. So that means Atlanta's got to find a way to get 9 wins. And I don't want to say it's a must win because that feels a little, it's not a must win, but if you want to get to 9 wins, losing to the Panthers is not a good recipe to do it.
Yeah, right. And nearly getting swept by the Panthers if it wasn't for that, missed field goal. So yeah, I think I agree. Want to move on?
Yeah, go ahead and give me again.
All right, I'm going to give you a game. People are going to call this a reach in the chat, I'm sure, but I think this is the game that I don't want to pick. It's a marquee matchup. Vikings, Bills, the Stephon Diggs versus Justin Jefferson game. What is the health of Josh Allen in this? That's the main reason I don't want to pick it. Kyle, who do you got?
Yeah, this Josh Allen thing's throwing me for a loop. I'm having a tough time picking this because of that. Because I mean, they said Case Keenum, so this isn't like I don't know, like not to say like Allen's better than Mahomes or anything like this, but I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent here.
Okay.
Like when Mahomes is out, as we saw in that AFC Championship game a little bit ago, the infrastructure for Kansas City is still so good, and Chad Henne can at least run that offense that like they beat that Browns team right in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this Bills team's wired the same way. Like I think Allen being out is catastrophic to this offense, right? Like I don't think Case Keenum can come in and do like 60% of what Allen does in that sort of regard. So I think
I don't know
I
if you can
just
throw 60% as far as Allen can.
yeah, exactly. So I
Mm-hmm.
just think, I think like I think Mahomes is better than Allen, but I think Allen is like more important to his offense's success than what Mahomes is to the Chiefs, due to that little comparison. But I'm going to lean Bills because I think he's going to play. I don't know. They're being kind of vague on it. I'm going to bet on he plays, and I'm going to pick the Bills to win at home.
Okay. See, I thought about if I had to pick it, I would have picked Minnesota because my logic behind it is I think the Vikings have a better chance to beat the Bills with Josh Allen than the Bills have to beat the Vikings without Josh Allen. That's kind of the way I thought about it.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good call, but I'm riding with this. Let's make it happen. This defensive line is going to lock up Dalvin Cook. Um, the secondary for the Bills has been injured and kind of inconsistent because it's been injured basically the entire season, but they still
Mm-hmm.
grade out exceptionally well. They're fifth in
Yeah.
EPA per dropback, which is, really impressive for the amount of guys they've been missing. But yeah, I just think that it's I think I don't know. I'm gonna lean Bills. I think this defense can make some things happen still, and maybe they figure some things out in this game if Keenum has to play. Maybe they change a little bit of what they do offensively. Probably not. If I think if Allen's out, it's a loss. But at the same time, I'm just going to bet on and hope he plays.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's reasonable. Maybe he'll play not at 100% too. That's the other factor is that he plays banged up. So there is that. I don't know though. Doesn't this just feel like? I don't know. It feels like we're due for like a statement game. I guess we just had it last week with the Jets beating the Bills, so maybe that's not fair. I feel like the vibes are high for Vikings fans. I feel like this is could be a good vibe win.
Well, this is a put up or shut up game for Minnesota, isn't it? Because I feel like we're on. I mean, honestly, I feel like nobody's on the Vikings. I feel like everyone's looking at this and be like, well, this team still kind of stinks. Or this team's still kind of, mid, as the kids say. I feel
Hmm.
like there's still a lot of conversations that this Vikings seems hella average, despite being 7-1. And I feel like if they want to be taken seriously, they go and beat the Bills on the road. Whether or not Allen's plays, you go and beat Buffalo on the road, I think you're taken a little more seriously. So we'll see if Minnesota can do it. I think that they had the infrastructure, I think, to still win this game because I think the defense is playing a lot better the last few weeks. I think that's been a nice development. And outside of the ref throwing a pick for a long touchdown to Curtis Samuel, I thought that
Hmm.
secondary was excellent in that game. And this has been a resurgent season from Patrick Peterson. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, I think they've been pretty terrific in the secondary. They got some dudes on the defensive line, and then this offense is what it is. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's funny too because like their overall like EPA stuff isn't great, but I still think they're better than that. Like I think they're mediocre in both offense and defense, but I still feel like they've actually been a really good defense and really good offense this season. I don't know exactly why they're not grading better or not, scoring better, I guess is the way I should phrase it. But I feel like I've been high on the Vikings. I think I like the Vikings. I think they're a real contender in the NFC, and I think you're right. I don't think you have to beat the Bills, but you have to. This has to be a competitive game late in the fourth quarter here.
Yeah, I agree. So it's just bizarre though, because I mean, I was high on them in the offseason, and I've cooled a little bit each time I watch them. And I think that Eagles game is still kind of sticking in my head. I don't know, but
Hmm.
like, it's also bizarre. Like we consider this offense very good, right? Like
Hmm.
at least I would say at least good, if not great. but they've
Right.
only scored 30 points once this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why, like, not that they, need to score 30 points a game, 35 points a game. That's, that's basically impossible. But why don't they score more, I guess, is the question.
It's a fair question. I mean, and I don't know exactly what it is. I feel like in the Commanders game, in the Balls game, they really beat themselves a lot. I thought that there was a lot of Adam Thielen had a near catch that was just dropped. They had a couple of just sort of these weird, not dropped, but just couldn't quite make it. Justin Jefferson had a couple of plays he wasn't able to make there. I feel like they could have scored more in that one. So you're right, but they also have been consistently scoring mid-20s pretty much every week, though. So what I haven't been able to get over 30. They have a 29-point game in there. They have a 28-point game in there. A couple of 24-point games in there. Another 28-point game in there. So, they've still been scoring relatively consistently, even if they haven't had those days where they've been going off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's just interesting when I see the numbers because it's like let's get to 28 and then we'll just kind of coast.
Right. I guess so. But hey, it's working.
Yeah, I mean they're 7-1, so you can't complain about that. So I mean, what would be the roadmap then if Josh Allen's ruled out? If Josh Allen is out of this game, how do the Bills win it? The defense plays awesome.
Good question. I mean, I think if they can run the ball effectively, I think that would be interesting. It would be fun seeing Case Keenum and Stephon Diggs play against the Vikings now. That'd be an interesting development. But yeah, I mean, I think you run the ball. They have ran the ball relatively effectively at times, I feel like, this season. That's still not the strength of this team, but maybe that, and probably just play good defense. That would really be the main way, is if they can shut down this Vikings team. But I do feel like I would really like the Vikings in that matchup.
Yeah. If this game was at, 8:00 at night, would it change your pick?
Oh, yeah. Locking up the Bills at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably fair. So,
yeah. All right. Let's move on. Kyle, give me a game.
Two bad teams. I don't want to pick bad teams. So Saints at Steelers.
Yeah, this is a good one. This one is a tough one to pick. I think I'm picking the Saints here. It's the two teams that I feel like that doesn't feel like these should be bad teams just because of the success they've had over the recent decade or so. But yes, both very bad teams. I think the Saints are. I think they're a better team. Steelers have been so inconsistent this year. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what they are. But I do feel like I trust the Saints defense enough to be able to defend well against the Steelers. Kind of, not doing too much offense here. And then I do think that again. I think the Saints. I don't know if the Steelers have enough to, who's covering Chris Olave in this game. They do have some players on defense. I don't think it'll be a great game. I had this one very high up on my list as well. But I think give me the edge to the Saints.
Yeah, Steelers, they've had some good games in the secondary, but they still don't grade out effectively well for the season as a whole. So the larger sample size says they're going to struggle in this game. The thing I'm worried about in this game is like the Saints defense, I still think is very good. And I still think they're really good in coverage, especially when you have those lines. I know they haven't graded out excellently, but I still think with those linebackers, what they can do. Like, I think Kenny Pickett against that defense is going to be a problem. And is he going to be able to read this defense and pick it apart? I don't think so. So I think this defense for the Saints can easily win this game.
Yeah, you're right. Saints secondary has been up and down. They've been very good at stopping the run, though. Can't you just see this being the game where Najee Harris gets 1 yard per carry?
Yeah, he'll end up with like 10 carries for 9 yards or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely something I could see happening. On the flip side, could we see a big Alvin Kamara game in this one?
It's possible. I mean, when the Saints have been at their best, he's had his best game, so they obviously need him to. And I mean, last year when they were pretty good last season, it was a lot because of him. So yeah, I don't know. They really need him to be good. By the way, I got to give you a shout out too because I loved your video headline. Your titling is top notch because when you had the film study, does Najee Harris suck?
Mm-hmm.
I got to say that caught my attention.
Yeah, hey, that's what you're trying to do with titles, right? Get people to be interested in it.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk about is this Jaylen Warren's backfield going forward? I don't know. I think Tomlin's too loyal for that, but I could see Warren get more touches.
I have to be honest. I know it's my job to talk about football. I don't care. Yeah. I just don't care about it. It should be Jaylen Warren or Najee Harris, whatever. It makes no difference to me. My life is the same either way.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, sorry to all the Steelers fans wanting me to get into that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so funny though, because when like 3 years ago, this would have been a Sunday night game, right? Or a Monday night game.
Yeah, and a good one.
Yeah, now it's an afterthought on the schedule this season. So sad day for these two franchises, I think. But I'll probably tune into this as little as possible.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, this one will end up being like the craziest game because that's just how it always works.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
let's move on. I think let's do another game with two bad teams, but I think still interesting. I think that there's still some intrigue here. I'm gonna give you Cardinals Rams.
Yeah, this is a good one. I am gonna.
Oh, you're gonna lock it up.
No, I'm not gonna lock it up. I had the Cardinal. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals still. I'm sticking with this team. I don't know. Like, I still think there's better players on the Cardinals than there are on the Rams. And two of their last three games against Cooper Cup, they've held Cup under 100 yards. I don't know what this team does, what sorcery they manage to have, but this is the one team that manages to somewhat consistently give Cooper Cup fits. Not always. He kind of has big games throughout, but they've managed to slow him down a couple times. Maybe they do it again
Couple
here.
times.
A couple times.
Couple times.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Good pun. Good pun.
That was worth repeating. I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they managed to slow him down a few times, and we'll see if they can do it again. But the thing is like, if they do it again, nobody on the Rams is doing anything. This team stinks. So, I like this defensive line too for the Cardinals. I do not like the Rams offensive line. I think
No.
that's a bit of a problem.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'll take the Cardinals in this one on the road.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I mean, I think the one thing is the last memory I have of the Cardinals and Rams playing each other was the playoff game, right? Where I mean, that was just complete domination. I get it. The Rams are just oh well, actually, I'm wrong about that. I forgot they played week 1 this season or week 3 this season. The Rams won already, so the Rams have beaten them the past couple times they played them now, and I don't know. I kind of think the same thing could happen here. I think that I could see I could see this Rams defense, which the defense has still played well, as Jalen Ramsey will definitely make sure you're aware of. The defense has played well. I could see the Cardinals struggling, although the little difference here, obviously, being DeAndre Hopkins is back, and that's not just a little difference; that's a major difference. But I still think I trust Jalen Ramsey to be able to win that matchup mostly consistently.
Yeah, Aaron Donald doesn't like Kyler Murray. I'm convinced.
Yeah, he has a personal vendetta against Kyler Murray.
Yeah, because it just seems like mean-spirited. It's like, I
Uh-huh.
mean, Kyler is the size of a small child, but it seems like he's bullying a small child too at the same time.
Right. It might just be
So,
the visual difference of seeing Kyler Murray and Aaron Donald next to each other just makes it feel meaner.
yeah, maybe someone needs to ask if he doesn't like Kyler Murray because I feel like he would say yes.
I mean, there's no chance that Aaron Donald likes any quarterback that he is not on his team, right? And even the ones on his team, he's probably like still not a huge fan of.
Yeah, he'd probably like to sack them too. I mean, he probably wants to sack Stafford now the way he's playing. So
Yeah, I think a lot of Rams players want to sack Stafford the way that the Rams are going. I mean, is there a way they can turn around this offense? I mean, part
no.
of what I was thinking is like, do you just throw Allen Robinson some more jump balls here? Like, I feel like that's one of the things I've noticed is like when he'll be covered and like, okay, can't throw it to him. Kind of Allen Robinson's thing is like he's not a separation guy, right? Like, isn't this one of those? I feel like we're seeing this more and more where you get a jump ball receiver and certain quarterbacks will then not throw it because they're not open, but that's kind of not who they are. Like, is that maybe a way to again to get some small fixes here for the Rams?
Well, nobody really throws jump balls anymore, except for Brady to Evans, which hasn't been that good this season. But overall, nobody really throws jump balls anymore. It's not really kind of running offenses, and especially this offense. The McVay offense coaching tree, the Shanahan offense coaching tree, it's meant to create separation. It's made to create mismatches. It's not meant to throw 50-50 balls, it seems like. And maybe it's just not a great fit. Maybe it's not a great fit for what they want to do because if a guy's not open, it doesn't seem like they're going to throw him the ball.
Yeah. We have Dennis in the chat saying Stafford isn't playing. I haven't heard that Stafford isn't playing, but I have heard that he was in concussion protocol. So there's a chance that he's not playing, I believe. I think the only guy I believe would be John Wolford, who would be the guy who would get to start here. I'm not sure what their obsession is with John Wolford. Could that be what the season needs? John Wolford.
No.
Okay, yeah, no.
No, this team is bad. Like it's as simple as that. This isn't a good football team.
Yeah, no,
So
it has a
the,
couple it has some stars, but it's not a
yeah,
complete team.
the way this team's going to win games, I think, this season is basically like the game they won the Cardinals game. They're going to have to win games 20-12, 21-13, 21-14, something like that. And it's basically going to take like a touchdown from Cooper Kupp, a decent running game, although they were pretty good running the football in that game. I think Arizona's defensive line's better than when they played the Cardinals or the Rams in week 3. They've played better the last few weeks. And then the defense showing out and having a great game.
Yeah, I mean, and also you mentioned the Rams. I mean, if they had just held on to that victory against Tampa Bay, they're 4-4. So I mean, that really I feel changes how we view the Rams
Yeah, I
a
mean a
little bit.
little bit because they're 500, but I mean
We still
we
wouldn't
all
have thought they're great.
yeah, we still watch the games. Like
Yeah,
they're not impressive.
no, absolutely. I guess those teams fighting to keep a glimmer of hope alive. Kyle, give me a game.
All right, let's keep the ball rolling. Let's go with a lot of tight games this week. A lot of
Hmm.
tight games. Let's give you the um Broncos Titans. Let's go with that one.
Okay, Broncos, Titans. Yeah, here we go. On my notes, this is a lock candidate for me. I'm debating if I want to lock it. I am picking the Titans to win. I just think I don't know who's playing quarterback. Still, I don't know if that's been announced yet. If you tell me Ryan Tannehill is playing, I think I am locking it up. But again, have not seen a ton from Malik Willis at this point. That being said, I haven't seen a ton from Russell Wilson at this point. I believe that yeah, we still don't know if Ryan Tannehill is going to play. So
Right.
that's kind of the question here. But I don't know. The Broncos are just weird. This is going to be maybe not the most exciting game, Kyle.
No, I don't think it is going to be. And a good Titans game is not exciting, by the way.
Right.
So we don't have to like paint a pretty picture about it. I will say, I think the best, the Broncos are coming off a week off, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best of what we've seen the Broncos this season was their last game in London,
Right.
specifically the second half of that game in London. So if they can harness that second half of that game, maybe they turn the season around. I'm not betting on it. Just saying, trying to play devil's advocate here. I do agree though. Like this game is unwatchable, I think, if Malik Willis is playing, and that's just
Uh-huh.
simply because Malik Willis isn't ready to play in the NFL. I still think he has some talent and is a decent looking prospect. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, they really need Tannehill to play.
Yeah, I think so. Again, two very good defenses in this one. The Broncos has overall performed better because the Titans still had that Bills game where everything went wrong. But I think these are two defenses that should play very well. Although the Broncos defense 20th in rush defense EPA, so you can beat them through the ground, and that might be a concern here.
Yeah, so that's my thinking is like, do they go basically 8-9 in the box if Tannehill's not playing? And just say, like, I know, like, they're probably going to sacrifice some in coverage, but just say you're going to have to throw it to win this game.
I think so. I think that's what they should do, even if Tannehill is playing.
Yeah, I mean, they really have to. If you're not like defending the box against the Titans and you lose, that's on you. I think
Right.
if you're defending the box and Derrick Henry still goes nuts, you can at least say, well, we had to get our game plan. Derrick Henry's just Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if they beat you through the air at that point, you could just say, well, we had the right game plan. They hit a couple big passes. But to just act like, you have to basically counter this running game. This is the whole offense.
Yeah. If Malik Willis plays, over under on 5 completions.
I'll go over, but slightly.
Okay. I think I'll go under. I think I would say under on that one. I don't think they would have them throw at all. Again, against the best best EPA drop back defense in football.
They have been good in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
They've been very good.
Yeah. Let's move on. So now it is time for let's see, where are we at? I give you a game, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I give you a game. I'll give you, to me, this is the London game. I know it's in Germany. It's the London game. It's in the morning. It's the London game in Germany. Seahawks at Bucks, technically. Where are you going?
Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks. Wrong team's favored. This is disrespectful. One day, maybe this season, maybe next season, we'll see. People will begin to take the Seahawks team seriously. The Seahawks team is good. They've gotten better seemingly every week. Yeah, I think the Seahawks team's good, and I think they're going to go win this game.
If you told me at the beginning of the season that we would both be picking the Seahawks to be beating the Buccaneers week 10, I would have thought you're crazy.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I would have
Mm-hmm.
absolutely thought I was crazy. But at the same time, I don't think there's any doubt you could watch these two teams and say the Buccaneers have played better this season.
Yeah, the Buccaneers have not played better. And that's the thing. That's the weird thing about the Buccaneers is a lot of the projection about what could they do this season is based on, well, can they get better? And defensively, I still think this Buccaneers team is very good. I think that, they've gotten healthier now in the secondary. And I think we saw that again. I know it was the Rams. I think the defense is still very good. But I mean, the Buccaneers offense is just nowhere near what the Seahawks offense is doing right now. I mean, it's just not even close.
No, it's not. It really is not. And I guess, I'm not locking it up just because I still think there's a ton of talent on Tampa and it's hard to bet against talent.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't played nearly to the same level. And as the Seahawks have gotten better week to week, it seems like the Buccaneers have done nothing but regress since week 1. So it's just really hard to pick that. I'm really interested to see this Mike Evans against these Seattle secondary guys. Like, I think the Seattle secondary has obviously played a lot better the last few weeks, and they've looked really competent. Tariq Woolen is a big guy too, but how does he match up with Mike Evans? I think that's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and again, it's not always even about height with Mike Evans because you're right, he's 6'4", but it's about just having the physicality as well, right? I mean, it's sort of like sometimes it's not even necessarily the tallest of guys, but the kind of like a Jalen Ramsey type who still a big guy, but more of a physical guy, is it really allows him to for the most part play Mike Evans well. So yeah, I think that's very fascinating. I do think this is going to come down to those secondary Buccaneers receivers once again, and can they make a play? Is it going to be Scotty Miller and Kate Otten who they have to see? And part of me too is just like, are we going to still? When are we going? I have been saying all season, I don't believe the Buccaneers are going to turn into a pass happy team. I think the no risk it, no biscuit team is gone. That died when Bruce Arians retired. I think that's done. But are we going to see them just be less run happy? Maybe not super less, but are we going to see them at least on the occasional first down? No, right? I mean, this is who they are.
Probably. I think that this was what kind of they wanted when they, when Arians was kind of ushered out. I mean, depending on what reports you want to believe, you had to say that this was a gravitational shift that they wanted, and it's clearly just not working. And I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So yeah, I don't think that's really how they want to play anymore. And it hasn't looked very good, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just what drives me crazy is how there's clear evidence to support that the Buccaneers being a pass-happy team works. We've seen them on these 2-minute drills. They've been actually very good this season, and they still refuse to make that their offense.
Yeah, they should go air raid. They should.
Mm-hmm.
They should be looking to stretch the ball downfield, but they haven't really done it at all this season. They're just haven't. I mean, it's bizarre to say this is a bad offensive team. They're just a bad offensive team, though. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and again, as great as Carlton Davis has played since coming back, as great as Jamel Dean has played this season, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett coming to town, that's going to be too much to handle. I feel like they are going to get at least a couple good plays in here. I think the Seahawks probably pulled this one off, but potential for a huge. I mean, if the Buccaneers win this one, are we just talking about them as though they're back heading into a bye week after this, being 5-5? I mean, what a win this would be.
Yeah, this would be a huge moment for them to be able to turn around the season because they'd be, like you said, 500, go into the bye week, have some chance to fix some things. And I mean, it's still as simple as saying, like, if you look at a team with this good of a defense that's played pretty well at points throughout this season, not all the time, but at points throughout the season, has played pretty well. You look at Brady, Evans, Godwin, these guys, you think there's enough talent here to start winning football games. They just need to start doing it.
One final thought I have, it's just something I thought of. Seattle's flying a lot further. They have they have to go from Washington all the way over. Tampa Bay gets kind of like a 4-hour head start there. I mean, that's something that matters.
Feels like it matters. Are they going to be doing high knees on the plane the whole time?
Probably. I think after the success that Russell Wilson had, I think how could you not?
Yeah. Bunch of danger witches being served on the plane, I think.
Yeah, probably. Something like that. Let's move on. Kyle, give me a game.
All right. Seems like we're kind of eyeing the same games here. Let's go. Let's go. Browns at Dolphins.
Browns, Dolphins here. This is an interesting one. You know, yeah, I like the Dolphins to win. You know what? You said we're eyeing the same games for locks. I actually purposely did not go into this week with a lock after the fiasco that happened last week. But this one feels good. I'll lock up the Dolphins to cover the 3.5 point spread. I know the Browns have been frisky this season. The Dolphins offense is just rolling at this point. I don't trust the Browns. I don't trust this Browns mostly zone coverage defense to be able to do much against this Dolphins passing attack, which is just playing at such a high level right now. Yes, you can attack the Dolphins defense, but it's just like, I mean, are we really going to trust Jacoby Brissett to keep up with this Dolphins offense? I don't think so. I think they not just win, but cover the 3.5 points.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because it's a battle of, I would say, sort of strength on strength because we've talked about this Dolphins defense and what they've been struggling at. They're pretty good against the run. They're top 10 defense against the run. The Browns are horrible defending the run, but I mean they're at least league average defending the pass. So, how do those two teams match up and, try and eliminate what the other's good at? I still think the guys in the Browns secondary are good enough to cover almost anybody. This might be one of the teams that they're not almost good enough to cover against, though. This is too good of an offense in the passing game. I think I would lean Dolphins too.
Yeah, I mean, and this Dolphins offense has been incredible. I mean, Tua is just walking out of bed with 10 yards per attempt.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it seems like the only thing that stops them is themselves sometimes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, that and, again, I know we're talking about the offense, but their defense also very much not good. I mean, that is the very, very real issue that could hurt them come playoff time.
Playoff time, I agree, but I think this would be the one matchup where you're kind of like, okay, I'm okay with what this defense isn't. This defense is struggling, but I think that this might be the game where they're okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think
was
so.
Good their last game though.
Sure. Where do we feel for the Browns here? You got a big win last week.
I mean, I still feel like that it's a good roster without a great quarterback. I know he played well in that Monday night game, but they're still coming off of 4 losses in a row before that. And I mean, the thing is, so what is the record? This is an interesting question. So right now, let's look at the playoff picture here in the AFC because we can start talking about playoff picture. It's close enough.
Sure.
So playoff picture right now in the AFC, you got the Chargers. I don't know how they're set 5-3. They're the 7th seed. You got the Patriots at 5-4. You got the Bengals at 5-4, and then it's the Colts at 3-5-1, and the Browns at 3-5, and the Broncos at 3-5. How many wins do the Browns need to get before Week 13 to take them seriously as a playoff candidate?
By what, Week 13? You said?
Yeah, because that's when Watson comes back. So, I think if this team loses at Miami, at Buffalo, and home to Tampa, and they're 3-8, they're done, right? They're not making the playoffs at that point.
Yeah, I think you have to win one of those games. You just have to. Obviously, you'd love to win 2. I think you have to. I think, honestly, legitimate thing is win one of those games and then sweep the rest of the way once you get Watson. I think that's their best chance.
But I don't even think if that's realistic because that includes beating Cincinnati on the road and beating Baltimore at home. And,
sure.
I mean, even Washington on the road is not an easy game.
I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying I think that's their, election night was last night. I think that's their easiest pathway to victory.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because I don't even think 4-7 necessarily by the time you get that Houston game with Watson. I don't even know if 4-7 is enough to get it, but I think it at least gives you a chance. So they got to find a way to steal one of these games. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting conversation going down the stretch here with this Browns because I think they're a pretty good team on their best day. We just haven't seen it consistently enough, and a lot of that is because inconsistent play at the quarterback spot.
Yeah, I think I agree. Let's move on. Let's go to. So I'm going to give you a game. I'm going to give you another divisional matchup between two teams that don't have great. It should be a fun game actually because two teams with bad defenses but good offenses at this point. Lions, Bears. Should be a bad but fun game. I think. Kyle, who do you have?
I am going to go with the Bears at home, and I'm going to lock it up.
Oh,
I'm gonna take the Bears and lock it. Um, this has been the Lions got outplayed pretty thoroughly last week, I thought.
Hmm.
If you look at a lot of the metrics, they got outplayed. The problem is that Aaron Rodgers turned the ball over 3 times. Were all 3 of them in the red zone or just 2? Um,
One was at least at the goal line, but I'm not sure if he might have been right outside the red zone, but he was close.
yeah. So I think, I don't think this Lions defense didn't necessarily play that well. They just didn't break. They ended up making big plays around the goal line. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears. I'm going to say, because I mean, the thing is with this Lions defense, you could say, oh, well, it's their passing defense that's the problem, and that's the worst part of this defense, and it's the worst in football. Well, the run defense is 28th in the league. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so it's not like that it's going to be that big of a problem. I think that the Bears can still overwhelm them, and I've been buying into what I've seen from this Bears offense the last few weeks. So I think they get it done.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Lions, they're not good. This feels like a fair take. I think I also had the Bears as my prediction here in this one. One weird thing, a stat I didn't know last week when we do our show, but I found out after, was, Aiden Hutchinson, the interception he had against Aaron Rodgers, that's not only his first NFL interception, that's his first interception ever. Not in, whether in college, not in high school, not even in Pop Warner. First time he ever had an interception, and it's against Aaron Rodgers of all people. Incredible.
What a season for the Packers, man. Yeah, so I just, I know the Bears have lost the last 2 weeks, but I think everyone can say this offense looks a heck of a lot better. The big thing for me is, can they find a way to get some stops consistently? Because this Lions team also, they started red hot the year with the offense, but they went 29-0 loss to the Patriots, 24-6 loss to the Cowboys. They got some points on the Dolphins. They lost that one 31-27. And then they went and scored 15 points against the Packers somehow, some way. It seemed like they were going to score 0 at one point too. So yeah, I mean, can they find a way to get a couple stops on this, Lions offense?
I mean, I don't trust any team to get any stops anyways. I feel like this is just going to be which offense screws up the most.
Yeah, that's probably true. And
Hmm.
I think, crazily enough, I think I trust Justin Fields to make less mistakes. And I trust this offense and what they're doing to make Justin Fields make less mistakes.
Yeah. What's amazing about Justin Fields? So, Justin Fields overall among quarterbacks with at least 20% of the snaps this season. Keep in mind, he, started very slow. It's been kind of two Justin Fields this season, right? He was very bad for the first quarter of the season, very good for the second quarter of the season. We're at the halfway point now. He has the 17th overall PFF grade. Guess where he is in terms of among quarterbacks? Guess where he is among quarterbacks in passing grade?
Among passing,
So taking out running out of the equation.
I imagine he's going to be near the bottom.
Yeah, 36th out of the 38 total quarterbacks. I'm not saying this like bash Justin Fields. It's just he's more Lamar Jackson than Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's getting the ball. He's effective. You can't say he's not playing well. He is. He's scoring a ton of points, but it's just he's maybe even more of a unicorn than Lamar Jackson is, because Lamar Jackson, is established thrower as well. He's just, also this elite runner. Justin Fields kind of, I don't know. He's almost one of one at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he really kind of is that way right now. And I mean, last game, we touched on it last game. I mean, he was in the Gabbert zone last week. Besides, I mean, it was maybe the best performance I've ever seen in a quarterback who had 4.4 yards per attempt.
Right.
Honest, like if you just looked at his pure stat numbers, you're like, okay, that wasn't very good. But then the 3 touchdowns, and then obviously the terrific running game involved with it too. And he had some, I think the last thing I think for Fields for this, as we've seen this development the last few weeks, is generating explosives. I think he's had a couple explosive plays this season, which are kind of off script and just off brand things where he scrambles and then all of a sudden the guy kind of leaks open downfield. If they can find a way to generate explosive plays in their offense and their playmaking, I think that's going to go a long way for him. Because he had that at Ohio State. That was the one thing he did have, was the ability to throw explosive plays downfield.
Right, and I feel like you still see the flashes of the explosive plays, but it's not. It almost feels like for Justin Fields, his passing game is basically. I've compared him to like the baseball player that strikes out a lot but can hit a lot of home runs, right? And you just hope the home runs outweigh the strikeouts.
So he's the Mark Teixeira of the NFL, is what you're saying?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe like I don't know, an Adam Dunn, perhaps.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably a little nicer than what I mean. Teixeira was really good, so
Yeah, I think the chair could hit a little too. He had contact, right? Am I remembering that wrong?
he was okay.
Okay. I mean, I know he was more known for being a guy who just looked like a very much like a Yankee.
Yeah, I think he had a couple good batting average seasons. Let me look it up. I'll get IT on this one real quick.
Oh, I'm already on it. But what is going on here? Why is Wikipedia the second chart here? Baseball. Get it together.
He had a couple 300 seasons, I guess.
Okay, yeah, career batting average of 268.
That's the ceiling of Justin Fields, definitely.
Yeah, okay. Ceiling of Justin Fields is Mark Teixeira.
People are gonna get mad at this.
Okay, well, let's move on. Why don't we? Kyle, give me a game.
Let's go Colts at Raiders. I have no idea what to think about this game.
Yeah, this is a weird one. Somehow the Raiders are 5.5-point favorites. I can't pick a team that just signed a random guy to be a head coach off the street. I can't do that. I have to pick the Raiders to win this game. Talk about bulletin board material, right? I mean, the head coach of the other team literally just said you stink a week ago. I mean, that's about as big bulletin board as you can get. Also big winner this week, Josh McDaniels, right? Feels like he's proven very right about the leaving the Colts thing.
Yeah. It definitely seems that way for sure. It's definitely worked out for him. I don't know. This is what if teams just started doing this and hiring random people to be their coaches when they fire?
They're already doing that with quarterback.
You could auction it off for charity or something. Just
sure, I like that
charity head coach for a day.
Well, I think now I'm thinking about it. I think I had a joke last year about what a team should do if they if they want to tank is go hire somebody that's in the media to be their head coach. And I think I used Colin Cowherd as the example. Hire Colin Cowherd to be your head coach. You guarantee to lose every game. And then they didn't go that far, but they went pretty close.
How quickly do you think his players would quit on him because the quarterbacks have a forward hat policy?
Immediately.
Just Cowherd, get out of here.
Yeah, I think so. I think creating strict no hats on backwards rules, you'd be in trouble.
Who do you think would be the best coach as a media person, not including players?
First, I'm only going to pick the hot take personalities. I'm not going to pick anyone good. So I think Skip Bayless.
Really? That's the one you pick as your number one?
I think so. I think Skip Bayless is an obsessive person, right? I mean, Skip Bayless, there's no chance Skip Bayless is going to half-ass the coaching job.
I mean, if you're going with just hot take people, I guess if I said no players, because I was going to say, could the Shannon Sharp then count?
Well, I think he actually could be a decent, good, solid coach.
I mean, he played, so you would have to think he'd be at least a step above, a few of those guys. Stephen A. Smith would not know anybody on the roster. He'd know the top 5 guys on the team, and then he'd be like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, no. Skip Bayless would be a tough one. Also, we have a super chat. I love you, but your Justin Fields thumbnail PNG is questionable. I'm not even sure what that is. But thank you for the super chat.
Is Justin Fields the picture in this one?
No, it must be about the video. I could probably use a better Justin Fields picture for my thumbnails I use. Maybe that's what you're referring to. Let me know. Tell me in the chat what exactly do you mean. But thank you for the super chat.
Love you too. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, Luke Brown saying Nick Wright as a coach. Nick Wright, I don't know if he would command respect.
I don't think so either. How many first-round picks do you think he'd offer for Patrick Mahomes?
As many as he could.
40. He'd probably offer his own children for Patrick Mahomes, honestly.
Yeah, that might not be a terrible move.
Yeah.
Offering your children for if you're a head coach, that's what you want to be. You can make more children.
Andy Reid might view it as an upgrade over his children.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get back on track here, Kyle. That
was me.
Yes. Okay. People listening to the 56 minutes into this podcast, be cool. All right. Everyone be cool. Back to the Colts Raiders. Sam Ehlinger had a terrible game. It feels like the Colts are tanking at this point. Their defense is still, it's up and down. That's kind of the one thing, but I don't know if I don't know how much I trust it in this spot. I don't think they'll. I mean, I guess the good thing is the Raiders' defense isn't that good. So you're right. It's a question mark game. It could go either way. But yeah, these are two teams that aren't great.
This could kind of paint like the little bit like the Lions game for the Raiders, where it's like, yes, this pass defense is horrible. This isn't a terrible team to play if you have a bad pass defense, though. I still think they're pretty good up front. They got, they got a ton of dudes up front. They're good against the run, actually. So, yeah, this might be kind of like matchup favors the Raiders, not to mention they just hired a random guy to coach their team. So, how bad is it going to be on social media if he has like a time management snafu in this one, or
it'll
like
be so
just
good.
a bizarre challenge or something like that?
Yeah,
like,
I'll be making a video on it immediately.
Yeah, this is going to be like if there's a Freddie Kitchens moment in this game, everyone's going to collectively lose their mind.
Remember how the big scandal when Freddie Kitchens got hired and how he wasn't qualified?
Yeah, he was cool with Baker Mayfield for like 8 weeks and he got a job. That's fantastic.
Also, how funny is it? I just realized in this segment said I think Shannon Sharp could be a good head coach who has basically the exact same experience that Jeff Saturday does.
Hey, man, if he wants to do it, give it a shot.
But at least in my theory, I think he would get some coaching experience first and then go into head coaching. I wouldn't just hire him right away.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Maybe hire Deion. Deion Sanders,
sure,
coach.
Yeah, that seems to work. There's better moves. Also, Reggie Wayne is on the staff. Like you could have just if you wanted a Colts legend, you literally could have hired someone who's on the staff right now to be the head coach.
Jim Irsay didn't like him enough.
I guess so. I guess not. Kyle, Texans at Giants. I love the Giants lines every week. They crack me up every week. They're only 4.5-point favorites against the Texans. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'll take the Giants. I was thinking that's pretty funny. Everyone like automatically gets 7 points, and the 6-2 Giants don't against the Texans. So especially at home too, it's even better.
Right.
Yeah. So give me the Giants in this one. I feel pretty good about it. This Texans team is bad.
Texans team is bad. How are the Giants? If you didn't know their record, and if we're going to play 17 more games, what would you expect their record to be?
Probably 7-10.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they are well coached. That's the one thing you have to give them credit for. But yeah, they're not a very talented football team. But again, they have such an easy schedule. Like they're going to beat the Texans.
I mean, they still grade out as a top 10 offense.
Right, that is true. But I don't know. It feels weird.
Yeah, nobody believes it. That's the problem.
Right.
I mean, they're still, I feel like, one Saquon Barkley moment away from being like a bottom 6 team in football, honestly. Because I don't think this offense would be as good without him. Nearly as good.
Yeah, but the flip side is they have Saquon Barkley, right? Like, part of that is unfair because, like, they do have that guy. Again, no receivers. I still don't know how much I trust Daniel Jones here. But yeah, I mean, they at least, I think the Giants, they know what they are. And there's something to be said towards that.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have problems against this Texan secondary either.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Texans, their defense had, like, the occasional scrappy game, right? Like, it has had the occasional, like, hanging in there game. I mean, I don't know. I guess Davis Mills has had the occasional scrappy game. But I guess the main things nice about the Texans are like, hey, there's this that isn't a complete disaster.
Dameon Pierce is nice. That's the one thing you could say.
Yeah.
And if a running back is the best thing about your football team, unless the Giants have a little.
Yeah, I'm going to say running back's the best thing about both these football teams.
Yeah. If your running back's the only good thing about your football team, it's not a good football team.
Right.
So I've started to see some mock drafts pop up. Have you seen any of them?
No, because I haven't paid attention to college, so they don't mean much to me.
I hope just this team doesn't take Will Levis first overall. That's the only thing I hope for.
Okay, why not?
I don't know. It's just we keep doing this with guys where it's like occasionally a guy will work because he's big and tall and strong, and then we say, "Oh, let's get the next Josh Allen because it's Will Levis," and it's like, well. Or Justin Herbert. Those two guys work. Then all of a sudden, every big, tall, and strong guy has to get picked. And we end up with a bunch of guys like Jake Locker and Jace Daniel picked in the first round of drafts or whoever it is. And it's just like, this guy hasn't been good. Like, I don't know. It's just bizarre. I don't know why it keeps happening.
I think in this draft, I think we're going to see a lot of people fall in love with a lot of quarterbacks because of how bad last year's quarterback class was. I think this year we're going to be like, oh my God, all these quarterbacks are great.
Yeah, the only thing, because I keep laughing about it, and you know what, you should, if you feel that bad about your quarterback situation, you should draft a quarterback basically as often as possible until you get it
Hmm.
right. That being said, like, I think that there's a couple good ones in this draft. I don't think there's great ones, but I think there's a couple good quarterbacks in this draft in Bryce Young and maybe CJ Stroud. I think there's a couple other guys like Hendon Hooker, which could be interesting flyers. But there's three guys I think have the potential to be generational next year.
Gotcha. And also, hey, I mean, who knows? Like, right? I mean, it's always hard to say. That there was the draft where we thought that it was just, Tua could do something, and then Joe Burrow seemed good, but not this great prospect. And now those two guys have been great, and Herbert and Jalen Hurts both came from that draft and were great too. It's always hard to project.
Yeah, I mean, we could be looking at this time next year and saying next year's quarterback draft class stinks, because
Yeah.
that's just kind of how it happens when we get more film. I just think right now, with what I've seen from three of the guys in the 2024 class, those three guys have the potential to be really special. So do you take a guy who might be an average prospect in the first round just because you need a quarterback that badly? Or do you wait and see you can get one of the special guys?
Yeah. Interesting. Well, here, I mean, I think we covered that game, but then we ended not covering that game. But I think we're good there.
I mean, what
Why
else
don't
do you
get?
talk about the Texans? They're awful. They're awful.
Yeah.
It's not a fun team to watch.
No. They're kind of fun, but they're not great.
Yeah. They're plucky, but they're not a plucky in like competitive way.
Right. Kyle, give me a game.
I guess Cowboys at Packers. Let's just, you're picking the Cowboys. I can't believe Aaron Rodgers games are picked one of our last games. But yeah, go ahead and pick this one.
Yeah, I'm picking the Cowboys, and I mean, I can believe it given what we've seen from the rest of the Packers. I mean, they've been a mess, quite frankly. I don't see how this Packers attack is going to throw at all in this game. I am worried for Aaron Rodgers going against this defense. I thought Micah Parsons could have a big day in this one. And I trust that the Cowboys should be able to move the ball effectively. I mean, this is honestly, I could have locked up this one. This is a lock candidate, I think. I like the Cowboys -5.
It was a lock candidate for me too. I just didn't want to get screwed out of not locking a game like what happened last week. But still, felt pretty good about it. This Cowboys defense is legit. Do you view this Cowboys team as a Super Bowl contender? Because I feel like I've been alluding to it, and it seems like you're not buying it like I am.
Yeah, I've still always kind of been like, I think they're that next tier down. I think that they're with the Vikings. I think that they're with the is there anyone else in that conference? Maybe not. Might just maybe Seattle.
49ers?
Yeah, 49ers. I guess I'll throw the 49ers in there. I'll say those three teams are kind of the three. That's the challenging the Eagles tier in the NFC, I think. There's stuff to like, but it's for me, if you're a true contender, it's like you're a complete football team. I still feel like their receiving core has been up and down this season. And that's just something that maybe that's part of having a quarterback injury, but that's, a big part of football. That being said, I still think they have, and I think Dak Prescott is good. I don't think Dak Prescott is elite. So when you get to the postseason where you really, if they're playing Philadelphia, I mean, we saw a game ended up being kind of closer, but for a moment, it looked like Philadelphia was going to run away with it. I still feel like I really trust Philadelphia to win. And I don't see them as clearly favored over San Francisco, who they lost to in the playoffs last year, or even Minnesota.
Yeah, I guess this is the thing where it's like, this Cowboys team, I guess I think I might view teams more as contenders in the NFC when you talk about Seattle, Dallas, Minnesota a little bit, and San Francisco, because it's only takes beating one team to consider yourself a contender. Whereas, like, if you look at, we discussed Baltimore and Miami, or Baltimore would have to beat probably Buffalo, KC, and then even to a lesser extent, Cincinnati or Miami. Like, all of those teams one of those teams has to win. So I think it's very hard to call yourself a contender in the AFC because there's so many good teams at the top. Whereas, like, okay, so I think the Cowboys in a one-off game could beat the Eagles. I think the 49ers and Seahawks in a one-off game could beat the Eagles. Obviously, the Eagles are the favorite in the NFC, but it's just a different kind of animal, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable. Like, if you're telling me who's a better team between the Ravens and Cowboys, I think I picked the Ravens in that scenario. But I think that what you're saying is fair. They won't have to go through a tougher route than the Ravens will.
Yeah, It's a much easier path for a lot of these teams in the NFC to make the Super Bowl. It's not that we think they're better teams.
A great question in the chat. Is Dak Prescott the Applebee's of NFL quarterbacks? The answer is absolutely yes. Completely nailed it there. Jingle bells.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Yeah.
go and get a good quesadilla burger. You enjoy the quesadilla burger. It's not an elite burger though.
Yeah, it's something that you like, but you're also kind of a little bit ashamed to admit that you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nailed it, spot on. We appreciate all the great chatters here with us in this one. But yeah, I mean, the Packers have to win this game, right? I mean, the next two games it gets even tougher for them. Things are getting off the rails. There's talk of putting in Jordan Love. I guess we should go through that. Should they put in Jordan Love?
No, they shouldn't. But I mean, they don't have to win this game. They can lose their next 3 games against the Cowboys, Titans, and Eagles, and then we could write them off because that's kind of what the level of this team is.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. I mean, and I don't know. There's also been this. I made a video talking about how you shouldn't blame Aaron Rodgers for this stuff. I think, listen, I get it. We all like to make fun of Aaron Rodgers. He's an easy target. He's a fun target. Like the idea that this is Aaron Rodgers' fault, play wise. Again, if you want to make the leadership stuff and the how he took as much money as he did, I was gonna say there's literally one quarterback in NFL history who didn't take as much money as they could. Like Brady's the exception, not the rule there. For me, it's like Aaron Rodgers is still playing at a very high level. He didn't have his best day against the Lions, but like this is not a Rodgers issue.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it'd be kind of lunacy to say this is all Rodgers' fault. We knew the problems going into this team going into the season. I think the one thing that's shocking is like this defense being as bad as we thought, as it is. Like,
Yeah,
not that it's
even
be
the best.
Yeah, I think we all picked it as the best secondary in the league probably heading into the season. They're bottom 6 in the league against the run. And, I mean, they're still pretty good against the pass, but they're not at the level they should be. Like, we thought this would easily be a top 5 group, and it's ranked outside the top 10.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. And this is a great example of why this is not how you should build a football team, right? It's because, like, yes, it is true. If you can get an elite defense, an elite running game, and an elite quarterback, and don't have elite receivers, you can be a Super Bowl contending team. The issue is that's nearly impossible to get, and you're probably going to have to get a lot of luck to make that happen. And they kind of had it last year, and then they, again, didn't make a trade at the deadline or anything like that. Didn't pick up Odell.
Yeah. So I live in Dallas. I got to say, there is a lot of Odell Beckham conversations leading radio shows the last week or so. This is a conversation now that's happening way too much. And yeah, I mean, it's happening a lot. And I mean, so I guess, if they add Odell and Odell's able to play, get healthy and play this season, is this all of a sudden a team? Would you rate it that much higher? Would you rate it in that conversation to compete with the Eagles?
Yeah, I think so. I think, again, especially if I feel like Odell's going to be healthy come postseason time and be back in the groove, I think that he's a perfect fit for what they need. I think this is exactly what the Dallas Cowboys should do. And he's just a Cowboy, right? He fits the Dallas Cowboys. Odell, this larger-than-life personality. I mean, he should play on the Cowboys before it's all said and done.
Yeah, that was, besides being a giant, he is a Cowboy. The star personality definitely is there for him. It'll be interesting because I don't know if it's actually going to happen. It's just a ton of people's talking about it, so we'll see.
Yeah, we sure Odell's not going to go to the Rams this year?
It won't do anything, but sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just joking. Let's move on. Kyle, give me a game.
No, this is me. You give me a game. I gave you that.
Oh, no. You know what happened? I already put it in my notes. The game I'm going to give you. Chargers at 49ers is the game I am going to give you just because I want the Chargers to win this game for you to just lose your mind.
Yeah, I mean, if it happens, I might not even I don't even know what's going to happen. This team is just ridiculous. They're going to lose this game, though. They're going to lose by 20. San Francisco's going to go into this game and punch them right in the mouth. So give me the 49ers. I think they win this game pretty convincingly because Chargers, again, cannot stop the run. They're a bad run defense. This is probably the worst team to go against. 49ers are going to beat them by 20.
I was going to say, over under 5.2 yards per carry in this one for the 49ers.
Over.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Juszczyk's going to have more than 5.2 yards per carry.
Jimmy Garoppolo could run the ball and have that much.
He's going to be carrying Joey Bosa down the field, basically, for 5.2 yards a carry. The juice is going to be loose in this one. He's going to go nuts on these linebackers who aren't very good. He's going to go nuts on this team. I think Christian McCaffrey should go up in this game. Yeah, give me the 49ers, and I thought about locking this one up, but I felt like it was too on brand for me to do it. But I do think they are going to win.
Appreciate you making sure you don't go too on brand. This is the Sunday night game as well. I have to say, I feel like some of these primetime games are not great, especially like the Monday night games. I feel like there's a decent amount of clunkers. Like the Steelers Colts a few weeks from now is a Monday night game. I feel like there's a lot of bad teams on Monday night. Monday night, there's no more good Monday night games, really.
The Steelers Colts weren't the game they flexed out?
No, that's a Monday game.
Oh, okay.
You can't flex the Monday games. You only flex the Sunday games.
Yeah. They, yeah, I agree. But at the same time, like, I'm sure they thought this was going to be a better game than what it was. But I don't.
Anyway, back to the, we'll have to spend for the Chargers 49ers. I mean, the way that the Chargers win this game is like, we still see the injuries in the 49ers. What's their defense at? Because it was so good to start the year, but the injuries have definitely paid their toll. Could we see, if the Chargers can get healthy? Because I get all what you're saying about the Chargers and the Chargers not being very good. I still feel like they're a different team if they have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. I think they are then if they can just get into the playoffs and then they get healthy. I do think that this is the team that they're not a team I'm afraid of or anything, but I could see them maybe pulling off an upset in that scenario.
Well, and Rashawn Slater too, who's been out. I mean, I know they're missing a bunch of guys, so it's kind of unfair for me to say all this stuff. But at the same time, I think if you go up and down the roster with all the guys they're missing, it's just not a very complete football team when you take all those guys out of the roster. And I think it's tough and a lot of those guys haven't been as good as we thought when they have been on the lineup, except for, like you said, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. But yeah, they got to find a way to keep winning games. If they can keep scrapping by and winning games, yeah, I'll put them in the conversation if those guys are able to play, but they got to get to that point. And I still don't think they're going to get to that point.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think this is, it should be a fun game, but I think it should be a blowout. It probably shouldn't be a fun game. I think this is a game that, like, for the 49ers, you want to be seen as a contender. Your record's not maybe as good as you think you are. If it's another one of those, like, you want to cover the spread, right? You want to win by more than 7.
Yeah, I think so. They should. They definitely should. This 49ers team's interesting. I think there might be an opening here for them to get back to the Super Bowl, too.
Yeah, here's an interesting question in the chat. Do you guys think the 49ers will move off Trey and try to get Brady next year? That's an interesting. If Brady is available next year, do you think that's something to try and do?
I mean, if he's actually available next year, it's worth calling.
I
don't think he's been as bad as people say this year. So, yeah, I think if he is available, I think it's worth calling about. But I don't know. Is he actually going to play another season after this? Like, I don't know.
Who knows with that guy?
Yeah, exactly. I guess to answer the question, though, like, I wouldn't be surprised if they move off Trey anyway.
Really? So if Brady's not, what would you do?
I don't know. If they feel like there's an option out there that's available, what if Aaron Rodgers is available? We bring it up every year. We bring it up every season. Is Aaron Rodgers going to get traded? But Aaron Rodgers would be the same conversation, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think if you can get an Aaron Rodgers or a Brady, you do it. I think if not, you stick with Trey Lance.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously the injury stunk, but it's not like he was blowing people away when he was playing. So I don't know. I think it's tough to judge. He also didn't play a whole lot, so it's still a lot of small sample sizes we're working with Trey Lance.
But that's also part of it, right? The guy can't stay healthy. Like, that is also, like, that's a negative in his game. Is, injuries do tend to continue once a guy gets hurt a couple times.
Yeah, I agree. So it is an interesting question. I don't know what's going to happen with this team, but I do think that they're, the other thing too is, like, if they're really competitive in this season and potentially make the Super Bowl, like, is Jimmy Garoppolo back again? I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting. Let's move on. So, Kyle, you sent me the games. This is I was trying to figure out how to say this during the show because I forgot to bring it up pre-show. When you sent me the lines for the week, I saw you missed the game. There's 2 games left: Jaguars at Chiefs and Commanders at Eagles. Jaguars Chiefs is 9.5 points. So I figured I'd let you know that. Which game are you going to give me?
How did I miss that? What am I doing? Oh
I
my
don't know.
gosh.
I was like, wow, only 13 games this week, and then I said, okay, Kyle's might have missed one.
Um, let's go ahead and go Commanders at Eagles.
Okay, sounds good. And again, sorry for calling you out on the spot. I forgot to mention it pre-show. Didn't know what else to do here. It's happened to me too. Just for everyone in the audience to know, it happens. I'm picking the Eagles to win this one.
Yeah, that's not a hot take.
Right.
You don't believe in the magic of Taylor Heineke?
Oh my God, he's going to throw some ugly interceptions in this one. This is just going to be tough.
Or maybe he throws it at the refs to get some more screen assist touchdowns.
Yeah, one of my favorite comments from that was someone said, "F it, ref down there somewhere." I like that. I like that one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's got to be. I don't know. I think that should be his game plan going forward. Either throw it to McLaurin on the sideline or try and find a ref and see if something weird happens.
I guess so. Yeah, I don't love that strategy. I don't think that that's going to win you. It worked. Admittedly, it did work in that Vikings game. So maybe I'm wrong, but I think I liked. Also, I did not edit the title. I have it Commanders there. What am I doing here?
Oh
I do think that I like. This just feels like the over under 13 and a half points. The Eagles outscored the Balls by in the second quarter.
Over. Although they didn't do it last week, but I'm still going with it. I think it's I guess the one thing would be like if Heineke can take care of the ball in this game, big if, could the Balls pull this off? Because once again, like I think the Eagles have been somewhat comfortable in a lot of their games, but at the same time, like it's not like they're always running away with these games and dominant during this undefeated stretch. Like I do think they're going to get got eventually, and it's just going to happen eventually because they're not blowing a lot of teams out. It seems like.
Yeah, the first time these two teams played, it was the most Eagles game imaginable, where they only scored in the second quarter. They outscored the Carson Wentz Commanders 24-8, and then the Commanders got 8 points in the fourth quarter. And that was it. Yeah, that's kind of seems to be what they do. Is they do sit on leads, but at the end of the day, I still just feel like I don't trust this Commanders team. They're basically the same team with Carson Wentz. They're just winning now. Like there really hasn't been much of a difference other than the final score. So, I think that the Eagles should be able to still beat the Commanders handedly. But you're right. I mean, it feels like eventually they are going to slip up and lose one that they should win.
Yeah, and hopefully it's this week because I just gave you that game.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Understandable. I don't know. I don't know what else. How much else we want to? Is Jalen Hurts an MVP candidate? Or should he win MVP?
Is he an MVP candidate? Yes. Should he win MVP? I would say right now, no. But he's going to be in the conversation as long as they keep winning.
Yeah, I still put. I think I still.
I comfortably have three guys over him.
Three guys. So I have Mahomes and I have Allen over him. Allen, I think you could argue one way or the other with him. But who's your third guy?
I have Geno Smith over him. I think Geno's been more impactful for his team this season.
Sure.
And if he didn't get hurt, I'd probably have Tua over him.
Yeah, I would agree on the Tua stuff, but the missed time hurts him. But yeah, I think
maybe
so.
Burrow too. I mean, Burrow's in that conversation. I think still.
Maybe he's had a couple of bad games. I would put Hurts above him at this point.
Yeah. So there's still a lot of teams. It's still a long way to go.
Sure. Final game. So Kyle, you will be picking Jaguars Chiefs. Who do you got?
Let's go with Kansas City.
You picked the Jaguars to pull off some big upsets before.
I did. It worked one time, but that's because they played the stupid Chargers, who aren't very good. Mm-hmm. I just want everyone to hate me.
Hey, well, we're on the Chiefs now, so you're getting a lot of Chiefs fans. You're probably happy to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess the 4 Chargers fans will come at me, but I'm going to take the Chiefs in this one. This feels like a gimme. I think this Chiefs team is still very good. I don't know how the Jaguars won that game after falling down 17-0 last week, and they really haven't been good since that Chargers win. So yeah, give me the Chiefs to win this one, and I'd probably bet the Chiefs to cover.
I don't know. I thought you were the Jaguars guy. What's happened to you?
I mean, they lost 5 in a row. I can only be the Jaguars guy for so. I mean, granted, all 5 of those losses have been pretty close, but I feel like everyone's just kind of losing close games this season That's just kind of the MO. And then they were down 17-0 and looked like they were going for a 6th loss in a row before Derek Carr just fell asleep.
Well, they said, hey, maybe we should double team that Devontae Adams guy. Maybe we should start doing that.
Yeah, that helped. But they don't really have anyone to double team in this game, so that's a problem. So yeah, I just think that Mahomes gonna pick apart this defense. I think a little bit. I still think it's a decent secondary, not a great secondary, but a decent secondary. I think Kansas City is going to be able to move the ball.
Yeah, the one we have seen though is the Jaguars have had they've had their downs, but they have had their ups. Trevor Lawrence had his highest PFF graded game of his career last week, so there's some optimism there.
Yeah, he was pretty good last week. I thought he, particularly in the second half when the Raiders fell asleep. But yeah, I thought he was pretty good last week in leading that comeback. So maybe it's not unimaginable for the Jaguars to win this game. Just very, very unlikely.
It would have to probably be by scoring a decent amount and getting a couple Mahomes mistakes, right? I mean, I don't think it's crazy that they could score a decent amount in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't, this despite playing pretty well in the second half of that game against Malik Willis, this Kansas City defense, I still feel like can be beatable.
Yeah, we have Digits in the chat saying, I really thought the Jags were going to roll after the first couple of weeks. You're not the only one, Digits. Someone I share a podcast with was also very much on that side.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a crazy thing to say. I thought legitimately this team looked good the first 2 weeks of the season. Even in that loss at the Commanders, I thought they looked good. And even in the loss to the Eagles, which was in just like this weird storm, I thought they looked pretty good. But then the Texans game was just inexcusable. The Colts game was equally inexcusable the second time around. And then the Giants game was inexcusable. And then the Broncos game was inexcusable. And it's just like, okay, you can't keep doing this and then having us bet on you being okay.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, isn't this season all just to get Trevor Lawrence better? And that's kind of happened. So you're not, I'm
going to talk myself into this team being awesome next season with Calvin Ridley. I already know what's going to happen in the offseason. This defense,
the Calvin Ridley thing does help them a lot.
Yeah. This defense is pretty good. I think Lawrence with Ridley and Christian Kirk finally going back into like a secondary role, I think that could be a huge thing for this team.
Yeah. All right, Kyle, or did we talk about the Chiefs at all? I mean, whatever. Chiefs are good. We don't have to, it's fine.
Everybody knows they're good. We all know they're good. They've been good for years.
Yeah, whatever. Kyle, let them know where we can find us on Twitter before we head out.
Make sure to follow me on Twitter. That is at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin. What?
You said make sure to follow me on Twitter.
Follow him at Jackson Kruger. Make sure to follow me at by Kyle Gronin. And make sure to follow the account page at On the Sideline JK. That is at On the Sideline JK.
Yes. If you like to listen to your podcast, we have the audio only feed of this available every show. It's just search On the Sideline Podcast anywhere you get your podcast, whatever feed it is. It should be available there. And if it's not, let me know and I'll make it available there. Tweet at me, as Kyle just mentioned. Make sure it's me though, and not him. But yeah, Kyle, any final thoughts before we head out?
Oh yeah, someone asked you to make a Sauce Gardner video. But they tagged me in the account, the podcast account. But they didn't tag you, and I forgot to tell you, so I'm telling you live on air.
Okay.
Someone wants you to make a Sauce Gardner video.
Appreciate it. I made a Sauce Gardner video like a couple weeks ago. So people ask me all the time.
I have no idea how someone found the account page, my page, but not your page. I don't know how that works.
It feels like it's been happening a few times.
I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, Sauce Gardner. Check it out. It's pretty good.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner's been playing well. Good player. I have a Garrett Wilson video coming out this week.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, so stay on the lookout for that. A lot of good stuff coming out. I got a Trevor Lawrence video. I posted my Mac Jones video today, Kyle.
I'm sure that's not very good.
No, just like Mac Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to trade for somebody, I think.
It's good, it's good going tough. Maybe Bale's happy.
Someone's saying put cash apps on the screen. Huh.
You can, we have the super chats.
Yeah, we do have super chats in this. Feel free to reach out there.
Yeah, but also you don't have to pay. I mean, we do the show for free. We get money advertising. You don't have to give us money.
You can give us money. I don't care.
Okay, give Kyle the money. Maybe Kyle will get a cash app on the screen.
Yeah, I got things to pay for, I guess. Christmas is coming up.
Okay, yeah. Make a YouTube channel, Kyle.
Maybe you keep telling me this. I'm under a lot of pressure. I'm working on it.
Okay. Maybe by next year. Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. It's just gonna be always. And another reason why the Chargers are terrible. It's just gonna be all that for every video.
Just on the Chargers each week. It'd be funny if I actually had like a YouTube channel for like 3 years and I just wasn't telling you.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. It's like super successful. You just like never show your face in it.
Yeah, that's gonna be my strategy. I'm just gonna make it and not tell anybody.
Okay, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if people figure it out and put it together. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you to everybody who have been, watching along live and chatting. We appreciate it. Or if you're just, watching after the fact, listening after the fact, we appreciate all of that stuff too. We will be back Sunday at midnight, as always, to recap every game that we just talked about. So be on the lookout for that. And until next time, see you later, alligator.
Peace.